Welcome back to Various Fields. I'm so happy that you came back after our riveting episode last week.
Yes.
I am Trey.
I'm Hazen Fields II.
And I am Lex.
And it goes once again with saying, without saying, this is Various Fields, where we talk about a little bit of everything and a lot of bit of nothing. Speaking on the Looney Tunes factoids that we hit you with, hard cases all last week, I kind of want to continue on with that and just like, for me, I kind of wanted to express more about, I guess, characters in storytelling.
Yeah.
Right? But we can hit off any other swings that you would like to. Just because the Looney Tunes for me were just, I guess, a malleable caricature of what we expressed to be America, but they can also evolve to be these parody of generally anything else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? But I think I liked it because, as I think I said it in the last episode, Bugs Bunny was not the first Looney Tunes guy, right? I think it was, in fact, a guy named, what do we call him?
Porky?
No. Porky was the first, the first animal related, right? From, from the main lineup. Like,
Elmer Fudd?
Elmer Fudd came a little after Bugs Bunny. In fact, Bugs Bunny was actually hunted by Porky first, right?
I remember seeing a couple episodes.
Right, so I think it went, I forget what the first guy is. I think his name was Rocco, or it was something very.
I'll look up real quick.
Yeah, please do. I want to say his name was Bruno or Busco.
Mars?
No.
Bruno Mars
It was a five. It was a 5-letter word.
That's how he got locked out of heaven.
Like Busco or something like that. All right, but he was the very first Merry Melodies character.
Okay.
As we went into Looney Tunes, you had Porky Pig, and then you had Daffy Duck, and then you had, I guess Lucky Rabbit or Lucky Hare, right? That eventually evolved to become Bugs Bunny.
Okay.
So, and then after Bugs Bunny was such like an iconic piece of just like this nonchalant, whimsical trickster character, he just eventually become the main, guy. So I can understand why Daffy Duck feels so shafted all the time every single time he sees him. So
that does. I'm trying to go find.
Yeah, we're trying to remember. I'm doing a character list.
Let me see.
We have Rudolph Isling. He was the first series of cartoons.
It's interesting. But go on. So as we are searching live, I'm going to say this to all of you. This is Various Fields. As we are doing this live, we are at 110 subscribers, and we can't tell you how much we appreciate all of you. Can you give them a hand clap for being subscribers? Thank you so much for doing that for us. And all we need is 490 more. And we'll get to the big number 500. And if we get to the big number 500, we are planning to go live. And when we go live, you'll be able to call in and talk to all these guys that you see here, and hear us and get the chance to participate with us. So please like, subscribe,
comment,
share. Yeah,
hit all the buttons.
I found it.
If you want to, if it was a Bosco, I saw a Bosco.
Yep, Bosco. I was trying to figure out who it was.
Interesting.
Right? So, yeah, that's what it was saying as the first debuted Merry Melodies character, first Looney Tunes character in 1930s. And then it went on to go into, I don't know who this buddy is, Humanoid Pig. I guess it was a cross between Bosco and Porky Pig. And then Porky Pig evolved, and then Daffy Duck. And then we have even Speedy Gonzales.
Nice.
So, but I wanted to talk more about, I think the reason why Looney Tunes is so iconic and the reason why these characters stick to us so much is because they are equally as a staple in their own character as they are malleable to our own affectations of what the character could be. So when it comes down to Bugs Bunny, you see him as the trickster, right? You see him as cunning, cool, calm, collected under pressure, right? Even to the point of having the Looney Tunes show, he seems to be he is doing very well for himself, has a house, has a couple of cars, right? He has it all together. Right? But the only issues that he always seems to have in life seems to be the people that he surrounds himself with. And he tries to have, he's not so much the straight man in that, right? But he always seems to have, the answers to everything.
Yeah,
He's
he has
like
a sarcastic swarm kind of personality.
Like, there's a perfectionist. Like if there was like an odd couples kind of thing going on, and he lives with Daffy Duck, and he's always this misplaced in life, and he's just trying to put himself together. But like I like how like you have like a protagonist looking something, right, and then you have like this secondary looking something, and then you kind of like fit that to be a mold in every other type of media, how you cross it, no matter what, right? Even if you go further back to the Looney Tunes show, they were something called Lunatics Unleashed, right? And for those that are not aware of what that was, it was basically superpowered Bugs Bunny and gang, So they had like, I think this happened a little after Spider-Man, right? When we kind of like had a boom of superhero shows, movies and everything like that. Like I think they always had an issue of staying relevant. After a while, you always go into the reruns. We were living on the reruns all of our lives, right? But like there was nothing new since. If I'm trying to keep the chronology right, you had Looney Tunes, which we were very well aware of, and then you had Baby Looney Tunes, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my gosh.
And then you had Tiny Toons, right? Or somewhere in between Looney Tunes, Baby Looney Tunes, right? So like, I guess to appeal to a new audience is like, what would grab the youth of the modern day? And then you find Lunatics Unleashed, and that's the thing that kind of stuck with me because they took all these archetype characters, right, and then formed them around these anthropomorphs like that are Bugs Bunny, Daffy Duck, Lola Bunny, and the rest.
Yeah, if it shows anything about how our personality traits are, that one of our favorite shows is Lunatics Unleashed, which I'm pretty sure no one else knows about.
Right.
One of my favorite things is that Lunatics Unleashed, which is like so. Kids, I think Kids WB did that, right?
Yeah.
Kids WB did a show, so Saturday morning cartoon. Trey explained it well. The Looney Tunes characters with superpowers. I will say they all gave them funny reasons. I think Bugs Bunny had laser vision. They gave him laser vision because he ate so many carrots.
Of course.
Right, of course.
Right. But
the sword was the carrot.
But one of my favorite things, and I don't know, and this is actually how I learned about a great artist, which I've heard the music before, I just didn't know their actual name. That's how I learned about Bootsy Collins.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Lunatics Unleashed made essentially a parody villain that was just Bootsy Collins.
Wow.
It's the craziest combination of words. It's like the Looney Tunes with superpowers fought a international space galactic version of Bootsy Collins.
Unbelievable.
That's just a show I watched. Well, that's an episode I watched one day as a kid.
Isn't that something?
Right.
Because that was the thing. He was a villain. He always went Bubbles, and that was kind of his main thing. And I was like, who is this guy? It was great.
I have not seen one episode of Lunatics.
I think you would enjoy it.
You would have enjoyed it.
Lunatics Unleashed.
It was, and I think it was the ideal Saturday morning cartoon.
Really?
Right. I'm not saying it was best. It wasn't top notch media, but it was like if you were to wake up and just grab a bowl of cereal, it was something.
Fight you.
And it was like it would have definitely been in there. It was between that and I don't even know what other.
Interesting.
The Spectacular Spider-Man.
You can't do that. You can't have Spectacular Spider-Man, which is one of the best known Marvel shows, and then right under it, Lunatics Unleashed.
That's all I'm saying. Like if you were to wake up, you would not be disappointed if you had those two in your life. That's all I'm saying.
I feel embarrassed because
I'm ready for that fight.
I always thought I was a pretty attentive parent, and now I know that my kids are watching shows that I know not of at all. My gosh. Well, that was good. So what are some of the other characteristics of the iconic Looney Tunes franchise that you like?
If I can
either one.
jump in real quick, I will say something that I've actually learned to appreciate more, and actually something I almost want to emulate, is that I do love the amount of peace and quiet, and I love how Bugs Bunny holds his boundaries. And I mean this in a very serious way. Bugs Bunny is the kind of character, at least it was made eventually be the kind of character that really wouldn't mess with anybody. Like, he's known to be a trickster again, but he really was chilling. His priority was, I want to usually read a newspaper while in my house, which is in my I guess Bugs Bunny hole, I don't know, rabbit hole. Like read a newspaper, sitting on a very comfy chair, and then usually construction would happen. An opera singer. Someone would put a gun straight into the roof of his house. And he would normally, if you watch enough, he would normally try to resolve it pretty simply once or twice. Like, hey, can you not be here? Hey, what's going on, Mac? What's up, Doc? Like, just what are you doing in my vicinity? Hey, if you could do this somewhere else, it would be great. And then someone always gave him a hard time. And then, like, usually they take the first hit, and then he go flying, hit his hand on the floor, and he goes, this means war. He wouldn't actually bother him until he was bothered, and I actually really like that.
That's what it is.
Like he's like, you know what? Fine, then you started.
If you don't
this.
respect my boundaries, I will wreck you.
Bugs Bunny was chilling. He prioritized his peace, and that's hard to do.
He was the epitome of the FF meter, right?
He was. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what. Foil, comic foils. One of my favorite comic foils for Bugs Bunny was Yosemite Sam.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, here's the thing about Yosemite Sam that I loved, because he was such a bigger than life character. They made him small.
Yeah.
And if you ever take a chance, because if you ever take a chance, look at the size of his boots. His boots are in
Size negative
I mean,
two.
it's ridiculous, for the amount of noise and how loud and how guns blazing, and he was much smaller than but he was always pictured in those in the Western town as the guy to watch out for, to be careful of. So that I thought that was kind of cool in a way, because and I hate to always be the person to bring something. So stature does not have anything to do with height.
Especially
you can have a large stature in life. You could be viewed from a position of being a great human being without like that Napoleon thing.
Napoleon complex, right. Which is why he wore such a huge hat, had such a huge mustache. It was like a puffer fish.
Bruce
like in the
mustache.
West,
Exactly.
Like every part of him, like if you took rid of the mustache, took away the hat, like he would probably just be like a 2'4", guy in a blue shirt.
Funny enough, I think that's actually kind of a consistency in Looney Tunes, because like you have whatchamacallit, you have like every character that was supposed to be in some form unassuming ended up being either like formidable to an absolute terror. Like Tweety Bird, that's the whole thing. Tweety Bird's whole thing is like, oh, I'm a cute little bird, just chilling with, I guess, my owner / grandma.
Right.
And then fights a cat and defeats this cat. I think Bugs Bunny gets a lot of props for being like the trickster character. I always get around things messing around my flood. But in comparison, like Tweety Bird's kind of a terror, because at least Bugs Bunny almost has a rogues gallery. Bugs Bunny has Yosemite Sam, he has Elmer Fudd, he has like sometimes
Martian Manhunter.
I was about to call him Martian Manhunter. Marvin.
Marvin. Yeah.
Bugs Bunny versus Martian.
Honestly, he's so great. Honestly, yeah. You do what is that new game out? He might be able to fight him next in the DLC, right?
But like with Tweety Bird, it was like the only ops was Sylvester.
It wasn't even an ops.
Sylvester never came close.
Like honestly, Sylvester, I think just because he was always due to be a bad luck cat. I don't know what it is. Like he fought kangaroos, he thought were mice. Right? He fought a Tweety Bird that was able to carry anvils. Right? No matter what he did, he tried his best, but Suthering Succotash, he just could not succeed.
What is a succotash? You don't know what a succotash is?
I think it's a vegetable dish.
Sounds like a vegetable.
Isn't it a vegetable succotash? We have to look at succotash.
I guess we're looking up live.
You guys know what succotash is.
Succotash, I believe, is a please, isn't that something? I feel embarrassed. I don't know. We've heard suffering succotash all our lives.
It is, in fact, a dish. A North American dish made of sweet corn and lima beans.
Guys, succotash.
Succotash.
Yeah.
Sounds like pretty good.
And apparently it's
You might
always,
have been on to something.
it's always suffering somehow or another. Suffering succotash.
Probably hard to make. But I don't know. I think that's like the kind of consistency. Maybe that's also the reason why I like it, because it is like, despite the anvils and the dynamite and the falling off the cliffs, there's a certain like level of cleverness that's always done, and I think there's something fun about like, this is so weird. A small message to be had, where it's like, I'm not directly attacking or like being as oppositional as I can be against someone who's raped, but like kind of just teasing, kind of just jesting, kind of just messing with somebody is almost enough of revenge rather than just pure hate. Maybe that's the reason why I like Bugs Bunny, because Bugs Bunny never seems like he actually cares. Bugs Bunny never seems like he's like, okay, you've bothered me so much, I need to do something back. It's always been like I got time.
Right.
Now, were there any cartoons? Because I can tell you right off the top. Were there any Warner Brothers related things that you did not like as much?
Blackface. You did that last
No.
That was the last episode.
See, you're starting.
Or redacted.
I've been good.
Okay, I'm sorry, guys, but I have to say I don't like blackface.
Okay.
I think we all agree across the board.
I'm so glad you got a hard line
Being
on
brave
it.
is saying.
You're a bold soldier. And I only have one cartoon of the franchise that I wasn't a big fan. It was the Roadrunner and the Coyote,
Really?
except for one.
Except
Okay.
for
One episode where the artist or the people that thought of how the Coyote would take this catapult to try to hit him with a boulder, and they did about at least 10 different ways how this catapult failed the Coyote. So there was so many things with the Coyote and the Roadrunner. First of all, there's got to be something else to eat.
I mean, in that vast desert, I only see those two chasing around. I only see those two chasing each other around.
And then, how does he have money to pay for Acme products?
He's a professor.
It's just-
I think that's actually canon.
What's the name? Wild E. Coyote?
Wild E. Coyote.
Yeah,
Wild
he got named later on.
He's a
Yeah.
doctorate. And there were some episodes when she was actually able to speak, but the Roadrunner
Right.
has always been, bloop, bloop,
Yeah.
you know.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
But I love them particularly because like there's always seemed like to be a soft opening like that was so unique to them.
Yeah.
Whenever you see them chasing each other, and I love this part. Like in the very opening, it's like, oh, you know what kind of cartoon it is because you see they're like the meep meep, and then you stop in freeze frame. What's this blur going through the highway?
yeah.
And you see Featherus Velocitus, and it'll just keep on going. And then you see what's chasing after him is some wacky
Carnivorous.
contraption, carnivorous coyotes, right? Just chasing him after him. And then
Very
the
good
cartoon
memory.
continues, you
Very
know? And
good.
there was a lot of different faux names, like, but it's like, you know what this is going to be about.
Right.
It's this age-old chase of
Right,
the
right.
Fast and the Furious,
Yeah.
right? So,
And somehow or another, I don't know how to. I did enjoy the part when the boulder is about to hit him. Just the smallest umbrella he would just put up.
Right.
Little sign.
But then,
Right,
that was it.
here we go again. Just
Oh my
the
goodness.
signs was very nice.
But maybe we can dig into it a bit and think like what, because that's another thing I'll say. Bringing it back is like why is it's so hard to explain like what I would call the nuance of that comedy, because it's hard to be like, all right, a boulder fell on Coyote. Why don't they bring that back?
yeah.
At the same time, there's like you don't see that kind of comedy anymore. And it's like I was watching. There's a newer Looney Tunes show on HBO Max, and they try to do such a faithful recreation of it. And I would say it's actually pretty close. As close as they've gotten to like, just doing the show again. And I was absolutely enjoying it. There was an episode where Daffy Duck is essentially bothering Elmer Fudd. And Elmer Fudd is just trying to get some peace and quiet and sleep. And Daffy Duck is playing the drums. And, Elmer Fudd specifically says, well, why don't you do it? Like, why do you have to play your drums here? He's like, all right, I won't play my drums here. And obviously moves to a closer location. He said, not to play my drums here.
Right.
And it keeps getting, more wild from there to the point where he's now playing drums right next to Elmer Fudd and he's getting mad. But he now starts playing the drums to the rhythm of Elmer Fudd yelling at him. So now Elmer Fudd is now like doing kind of a scat. I'm mad. I'm angry. And he's like, yeah. What else are they? Now they're doing a jazz beat. And there's something about like I almost wish to be allowed or to be able to annoy someone. So
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Wow.
I mean, it's all right. Maybe, I didn't
listen.
know that was a take. I didn't know that was a hot take.
Everyone has a goal in life.
It is, but I'm saying it's just a comical way to be like someone to me, and you know what it is? It's just the yes anding is what it really
Yes,
is. It's like
yes, okay.
The freedom to I don't want to actually be able to do this to someone, but the freedom to be able to yes and even anger is something that you don't really see in like other comedy or that kind of comical take. I don't feel like I said, one of the most recent things I think we all watched together a while ago that we liked was a show called Gallivant. That had very Mel Brooks, Monty Python, Little Looney Tunes-esque kind of thing, and I really don't see that kind of comedy humor anymore.
Right.
You know?
Well, well, when you hear us talk about yes anding, I don't know if we've probably explained it
I thought it was
Right, once or
semi-comical.
twice.
once or
we can
twice.
use
Yeah,
that idea.
but it's improvisation. We are in varying degrees students of improvisational theater, and we enjoy watching people get offers from people and accept those offers, and then in a theatrical way, that's how you create scenes, and without knowing what's going on, you can improvise. It's you can create a character, and just by you offering something and the other person accepting that offer and anding it, saying yes, I accept that, and I'm going to build on it by giving something on
like
top.
a Jenga tower.
Yeah, and there was
fluidity of action.
Yeah, there have been some certain shows that have been improvised. Mostly, there was a cowboy show not long ago on I can't remember it, but it was all improvised. And someone's going to look that up, and maybe next week I'll try to figure it out. But it was a modern version. It was a gunslinger, but it was mostly the whole entire show was improvised. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah,
the tamed one.
Yep.
I'm trying to think if there's any like. The only other thing I want to present, but like, have you guys seen, or do you guys know what I'm talking about when it comes down to other kind of, do you guys have other ideas of shows or comedy that feels reminiscent to Looney Tunes? Because a dead humor sounds so dramatic to me, but it is like I've learned, at least amongst my peers and my groups, that kind of quote unquote humor I have, it does seem to be semi-unique, which is something that's been pointed out to me, which is funny because we grew up with it. So in my head, I'm like, I didn't think so. Like, this is what makes me sound like a jerk, but like there's a certain level of sarcasm where I'm like, apparently that's a unique kind of thing. So I'm not sure if you guys consider yourself sarcastic individuals, but there's a certain level of comedy that we all know we're joking. So we can say something to each other knowing it's not true, but obviously that's sarcasm. And then like there's a certain fun in like knowing the other person's going to catch it. You know?
Right.
And like that is like some kind of humor that I feel like it's not done as much anymore. I feel like we only do it with each other.
Yeah, well, sarcasm. I don't begin with sarcasm, but I do believe that sarcasm can become a weapon of choice.
True.
As a response to thing. I know as a I'm not one to try to. I don't like. Trying to, and this is a not to.
It's an acquired taste.
I don't like to begin with humiliating someone, because they might not catch something, and when I find myself in this, if I've done that, I feel regret, but that's just me, and then has nothing. And this is
I think the closest thing that may have come to something more modern in that would have been. I just remember us all having a good laugh at this. There was a series on Disney called Teacher's Pet. All right, it was kind of drawn in the animation style of actually I think it was Mad Libs.
Okay.
Or it might be
Mad. The Mad magazine.
No, not Mad magazine. There was actually a Mad Libs. I'm imagining there was like a very interesting illustration style that it kind of took on, right? I'm trying to remember the actor's name, but he was the voice of Timon. Okay. And he voiced a dog that, he wanted to be an educated dog. So he's like, I want to be a child and go to school so I can learn as much as I can. Right. But in that series, he did so successfully that they even made a movie to the point where I think in that movie, I'm trying to zoom right to the point here. The dog was trying to find a way to get permission from his owner's mother, who was the teacher of the owner, right, to go on the school field trip, right? So the dog had to imitate the entirety of his family to make sure that the teacher was okay with taking the dog on the field trip as the imitated child, So he goes in and says, like, the mother was like, let me talk to your father. And he's like, oh, I'll be right back. I'm going to grab him right now. Runs out, changes into a father figure, right? Runs back. And he's like, oh, okay, well, as long as the whole family's sure, let me talk to the mother. All right, I'll be right back. I'll go get her. Right? Runs out, comes back, right? He's like, I'm not entirely sure. Is there anyone else with you? He's like, you got grandfather and grandparents? He's like, he talks to both of them, right? He's like, all right, I'm convinced. So he's like, let's do it. He's like, you couldn't tell that to the mother? Right? And I found that absolutely hilarious.
That's great. What was that again?
That was Teacher's Pet.
Teacher's Pet. I gotta look into that. All right.
I remember you because it was something that you pointed out. Like when you watched it, you thought it was absolutely hilarious.
Okay, very good. I got to remember things. The show that I was telling you guys about was called Quick Draw, and it was from the TV series was 2013, 2014. Sheriff John Henry Hoyle and his reluctant deputy Eli introduced the emerging science of forensics to an 1875 Kansas town. And I believe the whole idea of the whole series was primarily improvised. You know, so imagine coming to the set every day, having a general understanding of what the characters do, but then you just perform it. So it was, I don't, you know, I guess it got canceled, but I thought it to be quite entertaining.
You know what? There is a show that I think more recently did something familiar to that. I think it was supposed to be like a improvised cop show that was on Hulu. I hadn't watched it yet. I've been meaning to.
Yes, on Netflix?
I think it was on Hulu, but maybe Netflix, Hulu could have been one of them. It might have been Netflix. I think
Netflix,
you're right.
I think it was. Yeah.
They'd have like special guests. I think Bill Burr
Yes,
one time.
exactly.
And
Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien.
Yes,
and they would have like the setup was like, I think the show itself would actually have like a plot, or at least the episode itself would have a plot of like, this is a killer, this is a person, like, and do a very stereotypical, you know, your cop setup, like whodunit kind of scenario. And like the actors would mainly only have a couple of lines, but then the guests that would come would be guest shows, and they would have to act like cops, but they would never know the plot.
Right. Well, it was kind of, it was a, the name of the show is called Murderville. And it is an improvised detective show on Netflix that features celebrity guests who improvise alongside Will Arnett as a detective. Now, it was kind of like, it was a lot of fun because, and I remember watching, I think I saw all those episodes.
Oh, nice.
And what's fun about it is that the guests don't know what's going on.
Right.
You know, so they come into it totally without understanding what's going on, and with the exception of understanding who the main characters are.
Right.
But they are really trying to figure out who murdered the person as well. And it's a lot of fun.
Actually, I do need to watch that show. Maybe that's the thing I'm looking for.
Yep.
Put in the comments your favorite kind of comedy, whether it's stand-up, what kind of shows you watch, things like that. But I think sometimes I feel like comedies are unappreciated, like, I don't know, call it genre or something. I have met people who are like, this is going to sound strange, but like, you ever meet someone who's like, maybe like they just don't listen to music? You're like, oh, that's it. And it's like, it's not a judgment, it's just sometimes it's surprising. But I've also met people who like, this is going to sound weird, don't take comedy seriously. You know what I mean? And
I got you.
But it's weird because I think comedy is such a thing in our household. I forget that that's comedy is like more of like an emotion to me and like a thing. But there's some people who are like, I don't care for it. I don't care for funny. And I'm like, oh, all right, that's crazy.
Have you actually had a chance to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine or The Community?
I love Brooklyn. Oh, those are two of my favorite. Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Community.
Those are the
Dad,
two.
you like them.
Those are the two comical shows that I think would actually, you know, I enjoy them both more primarily for their writing. It's not so much Looney Tunes, but it's like, I think it's just clever in how they actually segment all their bits together.
You know what? Something that also connects us a little bit, because I was going to... Dad, have you seen 30 Rock?
I've seen it, but I need to binge it.
All right, that was a smaller segment, but something that connects all of us is, I think, The Daily Show, because I think something we all watch and we love, but I know we like Jon Stewart.
Indeed.
Yep.
And Jon Stewart, even though, you know, real person, like, embodies, I think, a lot of the comedy that the three of us like a lot.
Agreed.
And then Stephen Colbert actually did a little bit of that as well. Right. And in fact, I don't know if you had a chance to actually see his holiday cartoon. He actually did put out.
I didn't see that.
All right. No, it was very interesting.
Well, guys, we're just about ready to wrap up here. We got about another 10 minutes. Let's hit everybody say a little.
What you got,
thing there. Well, I want to say, listen. Once again, do we talk about liking and subscribing and commenting again? Please help us out. We want to thank you so much for getting us to 110. You can give them a happy little sound.
Happy.
Thank you so much. And when we get to 500, we're going to be able to go live. So thank you for doing that. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I just, thank you again for getting us to 110 subscribers. Thank you for listening. And it's moments like this where we can feel more confident talking about just Looney Tunes, things like that are important to us, and we hope it's important to you as well. So send us all your favorite episodes, favorite shows, things like that, so we can talk about them too.
Oh, real quick, shout out to Paul Rudnick, a good friend of ours that's been helping us out. Thank you to Nels, who's always here. Thank you, everybody here at Only Way Out Studios. And we will see you on next time on the next episode of Various Fields. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Catch you later.